We good, Nick? Okay, everybody, I'd like you to welcome you to the first Case Study Cafe at Print 13. We are very honored to have with us our good friends, Fastbind. Fastbind has been supporting Print Media Center and the Printerverse for 2 years in many ways, and they are amazing partners. So again, thank you for everything. And also Xerox is new to the Printerverse, but we work very closely with Bill on social media. He's amazing. He made everything happen. Today, we are going to be talking about how through the amazing digital printing technology of Xerox and the amazing machines of Fastbind combine to enable printers to enter a new revenue channel, which is photo books and bookmaking, and they will take it from here, introduce themselves and everything. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, I'm Ken Dalzell. I'm the president of Fastbind USA. We support our customers in bookbinding and case making, and we're here to talk today about bookbinding and Xerox printing, and we'll also talk about some case studies we have of what we've done with customers.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Karen Kimmer with Xerox, and I'm one of the business development consultants that helps our clients grow their business. And more specifically this afternoon, we're going to be talking a little bit about the photo book market and how that's evolving and how you can take advantage of that. And I know that most of you might be thinking about the photo book market, and a reaction I got this morning with one of my clients in a meeting was, why do I want to get into that? It's pretty well saturated. There's some big names out there already taking advantage of that, and I don't see myself creating that infrastructure. And to some degree, that's accurate. There's different ways of looking at this market, and I'm going to give you some ideas this afternoon about how it might fit into your business plan and your business model. There's a tremendous amount of growth still in the photo merchandise and specifically the photo book market. So if you look at some of the recent reports that InfoTrends released in the last couple of weeks, about 2009, I believe, there was about a 25% market penetration in photo books. And in today's world, 5 years later, in 2013, only 40% market penetration. So there's a huge opportunity to take advantage of that. Kent's going to talk a little bit about some of the technologies and observations that he knows are critical when considering this market. He's going to share some case studies with you, and then I'll close out the conversation on a business model conversation and how to go about taking advantage of it.
Thank you. All right, so a lot of the times we get questions about how does a customer enter the photo book business. Generically, we're talking about a printer that'd like to expand their opportunities and increase their print volumes. So working with Xerox and working with Fastbind, what we do is we enable them to use our technologies to create the custom cases and to bind the paper into those cases to produce those products. So some of the generic questions that we're asked is, well, you know, what is it that the space is buying? What are customers purchasing out there? How do I make them, and how do I produce them in my facility? So if you look at the overall market, you'll look at either a landscape size in a generic photo book or a square size for photographers. But the page sizes right now that we average are about 10 sheets per book. And one of the questions we'll get is, well, what about a regular hardcover that I see in the marketplace, like a black with a white with a square window, versus a printed custom cover? Now, a few years ago, it was quite common to see a regular window cover pretty much everywhere, but now the standard you see is a printed custom cover. The customers want to see their graphics on the cover. We want to produce graphics as printers, so those two marry together to make a high profit product. So the standards are printed covers with good bound product inside, and the ability to personalize those covers for each and every customer. One of the case studies we're going to talk about today is a customer that didn't do book printing at all, in fact didn't do any printing. Xerox and Fastbind worked with this client as a modeling agency, and they used to purchase books online from one of the big box retailers. They would purchase the books, they would do the design, and they would ship directly to their clients. When Fastbind and Xerox went in to consult with them, what we found out was they could save almost 3 times as much, or 3/4 of what they were paying the online retailer to produce them in-house. So they purchased a Xerox 700, they purchased a Fastbind case maker, and Fastbind Bookster Binder were able to produce all of the products they had previously sent out in-house on demand. So they were able to save money and grow their business. They presently are making over 800 books per month where they were sending them out before. So it was a very good story. They were able to take that. Once they got the Xerox printer in, now they can fulfill other print products for their customer base. And in fact, they have doubled their production and ordered a separate 700 in the last 6 months. So it's a really good story to talk about, something to think about how you can increase the print volume in your facility by packaging that print into book-based products. The second case study is a more interesting one because of the way that they are using technology to increase their footprint. I had a customer that was already a Xerox customer. They owned an iGen, which is a really big Xerox printer. But what they were trying to do is find more volume printing-wise and what markets they could go into. So again, Xerox and Fastbind, we went in there to talk with them. And while photo books was something that was interesting to them, they had already found that they had some customers they could do business with. What they wanted from us was how could they increase the opportunities to do business. One of the things that they were really good at was printing. The thing they were not really good at was marketing directly to the consumer. So we ended up bringing in a third-party software company that enabled them to use a store-based web software where they could actually offer to their customers a web store that then their customers could go to and design books, and they ended up being just the production center. They didn't really have the selling and the merchandising and the marketing efforts. That was done downstream, but they were able to produce the web store and all the design software for the individual customers to sell for them, and then they did all the print production in the back, and that increased the volumes that they could print without them costing the going out and making new markets and going into new areas and trying to find niches. They had customers do that for them. So they became a back office print production center using this technology. So now using Fastbind binders and case makers and Xerox printers, they're able to increase their volume without increasing the amount of marketing they have to do. I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, can't hit on some very critical components when you're considering bringing out a new line of business and rolling out some new market opportunities. One of the reasons why we love books and photo books so much is that it's still a huge growth opportunity, as I mentioned earlier, but it's also a huge profit opportunity. So as we've seen the commercial industry go up and down as far as leading products and profitability, this is one that's still maintaining its margins very, very well. In fact, of all of the photo merchandise out there, books are maintaining the highest profit margins still. The other reason why it's such a great market to get into is it develops a very loyal client base. In the same study that InfoTrends released, it indicated that over 50% of the people that have currently purchased photo books or photo merchandise will continue to purchase photo books or photo merchandise again. So you've created this customer and they continue to stay with you, which is very, very important when you're looking at how to build your business. As far as the photo book itself, it allows you another opportunity to cross-sell or program sell. When I'm working with clients on marketing plans and go-to-market strategies, one of the biggest questions I ever get is, how do I do program selling? I want to get into program selling and get away from that transactional sell. So the photo merchandise market allows you to do program selling, simply meaning that you can sell them more than one product and keep a customer for life. So we talked a little bit about the what and the how. I'm going to give you some ideas on where I think you might be successful, and Kent, you hit on it really well. There's two different options, and right now the place where it is a little saturated is in the business to consumer market, right? So that's when you look at a business to consumer market, you're talking about product marketing, and you have to be able to develop a product, get it out to market, and hope that people like what it is. In a business to business model, you're talking about a model based on relationships. And people that buy in a business-to-business model typically like to buy on a logical thought process versus an emotional one. So if you can put a program together where you're giving back money to the organizations that are selling these books and manufacturing these books, you have a perfect ROI to help these people get into this industry. And whether it's you increasing your print volume, they may be increasing their donations, or whoever it is, that organization that you're working with. Business-to-business is built on the lifetime value of a customer. Business to consumer is built on how do I increase that transaction. Okay? So you're having to reinvent yourself over and over again. And one of the things I sat down and penciled out this morning with one of my clients is a business to consumer model. simply meaning, as you suggested, having your business calling on your current clients and then trying to understand what their clients' needs are or what makes their business work well. For example, in a retail world, the whole premise of a retail brick and mortar is to get people to come in, foot traffic. So allowing them to come in and create a photo book and then come back to pick up that photo book is going to increase the retailer's spend on the floor. So looking beyond the what and how, but why. Why does that business exist, and how can you help them improve their business results? Okay. The other areas that we look at in a go-to-market strategy with photo books is really understanding and testing the market. Again, looking at a generalist attitude, you can put a product out there and really hope that it hits home with somebody, but if you don't test that market and really understand what your clients are willing to buy, then you're going to waste a lot of time and resources. So my other recommendation is to look at and take inventory, ask your clients, do some sit-downs with them, voice of the customer. What are you willing to buy? Maybe it's not a 25-page book. Maybe it's only a 10-page book. Maybe it's a high-end book. So you have to understand what they're willing to buy, and this is very important in the K through 12 environment as well. We see a lot of photo books being produced in this environment. In fact, I have a Fastbind and a color press that when I was in sales, I sold to a school district in Washington State. And what we learned in that environment is the school district's in a very high affluent demographic, and so we were able to push the bar a little bit on what they were willing to buy. I wouldn't take that exact same model and put it in a different school district that maybe didn't have the same kind of income in their households. So really the critical part of any go-to-market strategy is to understand your customer, what their requirements are, and then test it again to make sure that you clearly understand what they said and that you have a product that will sell for them. Okay? Any questions so far? No? Go ahead. So the question was, in a B2B environment, what is the royalty share? And I hate to sound like a consultant, but it does depend. It depends on, again, who you're selling it to. In a higher ed environment, we've seen a lot of photo books being utilized in the alumni associations, and so you may sell those for $49, $59 a piece, allowing you to give back more profit to that organization, and it's a shared resource. There isn't an exact percentage. It depends on the supply chain that you're working with. So really, again, understanding what's going to motivate that client to get engaged. One of the things that we've learned that's very purposeful when you're thinking about this B2B2C model is people like to do business in their own community. So if you're a print provider and you want to be able to offer photo books, and you've had people that were previously using the online stores doing that, you have a real appeal to go out to your community and say, I'm going to help give back, and let's sit down and strategize how it's going to be meaningful for everybody. Did that answer your question? Gosh, let me ask Ken a question. What's your average that you see the books being sold for?
The average cost of a photo book, if you go online, depends on the finish of the book. Mm-hmm. But a customized cover, let's say a landscape book of 10 sides, 20 sheets, 10 sheets, 20 sides, which is an average, is right around $49 to $59. Okay. You can get some differences if you go with a leather cover or if you go with specialized paper, but it's in that area. One of the things, and I'll answer Jerry's question a little bit, we did see with that second case study was when the customer did more of the downstream work. In other words, they set up the store, they helped that entity with their marketing, it helped them find these customers. They pretty much did everything except for the branding and the selling of the product. They took more of the profit and gave less to that entity, whereas a true production center just gets a job and finishes it for a price. And that's what was interesting to them, was they could go out and get more business by getting these people the tools they needed, and they kept more of the profit.
A question from home, go ahead.
So the question was, what kind of training does it take to bring in photo book equipment and make photo books? If you're already a printer, the training is minimal. It's a different kind of finishing, but it's a finishing application like you do with other products. You're printing the inside pages, you're printing the cover. The training comes in the way to align the cover and align the cardboard into the covers and make a cover out of it, and then to get the books bound clean into that cover. So generally we do two types of training. We do an on-site training of 4 to 6 hours, and we follow up 2 months later with an online training to follow up with any questions or issues that they have. The training really is quite easy. The graphics design is a little bit more difficult to get into the stream of their software. Sometimes they have to build it in, but the training is really minimal for the book design and the book making process.
So to answer the question on how do you build repeat business in this channel, a couple things to consider. One of the best attributes of a business-to-business model is content marketing and training your customers and educating your customers. So the more you can educate your customers on how to do something, the more they're going to be tied to you for repeat business. So let's say you're working with a nonprofit organization that wants to take part of the profits for their cause. The best practice in that type of an environment is to teach people, first of all, what it is that they're giving back, and then keep them on a list and keep marketing to them throughout the year. We tend to find that nonprofits and schools and programs like that are annual events or maybe biannual events, and so it allows them to think forward about what they can do next year differently, and it keeps people repeating. The other opportunity, obviously, is if you're looking at a go-to-market strategy, is to really build in some customer loyalty, key stakeholders, as well as refer a friend type environments. But if you think about the business to consumer market, you're leveraging their relationships with their consumers and their audience, and so that tends to be organic because they're putting a lot of marketing dollars into their business marketing as well. You're most welcome. Other questions?
Okay, what kind of companies are good ones to partner with to help you attract new customers? Okay, all right. Yeah, let me try to answer that one. I call them entity groups. What they are is groups that have a lot of followers. I'm not talking about Facebook followers, but I'm talking about an audience that does business with them on a regular basis. An easy example is a university. You have students that like to do business with them. What I mean that is they go to their website, they want something with the colors and the logos. They're interested in that, so they have a communication relationship with them, and it's easier to sell to that audience anything that you want to push to them because they're willing to come and talk to you. If you took that to a business environment, it might be a race team, it might be a Coca-Cola who has a lot of people that will listen to what they have to say. So an entity group has already a built-in audience. They have a group of people that are willing to listen and accept an email or a square on their web page that says buy a photo book. They also have either products or logos or colors or information that audience wants that they can share only with the print provider. Someone else can't get in that chain. If it is a logo or a color, that you have to have a relationship with that entity so that you're the only person that can produce the photo book that has those colors or logos in them. So you can extrapolate that out to pretty much any business that has, again, a large following, a brand name, okay, a band, or some type of business that people will definitely listen to. Those are the best ones to work with because they have something to say. You can also look at that from the other perspective. Some of these companies use photo book products as advertising. So they don't actually sell the book to the customer, they give it to the customer, but they still buy it from you. And there's an awful lot of that. Obviously promotional type environments where they have people come in and they take them somewhere and they take pictures of it. Other times it's just products, placements of theirs mixed in with pictures of you, and they send that out to you and you accept it into your home and you look at it. That's great advertising. They buy the book from you but give it to the consumer.
And to add on to that, it's critical to continue to think about the other opportunities out there. One of the things that we obviously have seen, if you think about who owns the photos out there, so the market that owns the photos, realtors own photos. Photojournalists are good people to partner with. They have the rights to their photos. So if you're looking at expanding into more of a business-to-business or a product marketing type book, as you mentioned, Kent, you want to follow the people that own the photos, and you'd be surprised how many of them are just trying to go online and do something as opposed to having a business partner with them. Good question. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone. We appreciate your time.
You clear out all the other questions?
I think so.
Any other questions? We're good.
Yes, we have actually two more questions. One I'm not sure I understand, so I'm just going to read it, okay? What kind of timeline do printers need to factor into B2B resellers? Does that make sense to you guys?
What time? Okay, so what timeline? As far as a ramp-up timeline to be profitable?
Okay.
Okay, that's how we'll answer the question. Between Fastbind and Xerox, we have a couple of different calculators, ROI models that you can use that calculate. In fact, I put one together for an organization a while ago that I've been using for the last 4 years that calculates in the cost of the print, the cost of your materials, and the cost of your labor. And then you can look at your sell rate, and you can determine different factors in how you want to sell it. So again, the answer really depends on what are you going to sell the product for, which means you need to understand your client and what they're willing to pay. So your ramp-up periods are going to be different for each organization, but typically what we like to do is to look at a 6-month ramp-up period as far as having a product launch that's been tested well and understood by your consumer, whether it be a B2B or B2C.
Okay, and the next question is for Xerox. You mentioned seasonal, which is very interesting to this person, Sandy at home. So she's sort of prompting as well by saying, so should printers be working with resellers now for holiday books, for example?
You want to take that one?
Yeah, let me take that one. The seasons for photo books right now are, of course, the holiday season. You have the Valentine's season. You can also look at yearbooks, school yearbooks, as a photo book. It's an image-based product. We don't generally lump them in because they're much larger, but there's a lot of other book products that are made in the yearbook space for groups and football teams and things like that. And they all have seasons, so if you can spread them out. But yes, if you're going to get into the Christmas season, you almost need to be there now. You need to be ready. Your marketing has to be in place. Your relationships have to be in place. And your capabilities have to be in place, because unlike most other seasons, the Christmas season is an enormous swing in our orders. It's a very, very tight time frame, and you must deliver, and then it drops off. So you must have your marketing and your manufacturing production ready well into September, October.
Any other questions? Okay. Question? A marketing question about the marketing mix. What works well to get to those affinity groups, whether it be online, social media, print? I would start with your current customers first if you are working with affinity groups. If you're not, then you're going to want to find somebody that can get you that door in. I personally don't think that any one channel of marketing is going to be better than the other. As we know in today's world, that as many different channels that we can combine, the better results we get. So again, understanding who that client is, and if you have access to them, you might just try in face, the old-fashioned way, and then you can follow that up with obviously social media and online marketing if you need to. No more? Any other questions from the group? Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you very much.
If you have any questions, folks, please feel free to stop by either the Fastbind booth or the Xerox booth, and we have a lot of different resources for you to consider in getting into this market. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Before you go, just mention your websites, maybe, how people can find you.
The Xerox website is www.xerox.com.
And Fastbind USA, FASTBIND USA.com. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much. Thanks, everybody.